Hey, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about top 5
best soundbars.
Starting at number 5.
Samsung S60D. Like the Sonos Beam, Samsung's S60D can be partnered with an optional wireless subwoofer and rear surround speakers for a 7.1-channel Dolby Atmos experience, albeit one costing nearly £1,000. Do that and you get access to sonic trickery such as private rear sound, which directs 2-channel audio via just the rear speakers, potentially very useful for low-level, late-night listening when the kids have gone to sleep. Without them, the S60D is a 5.0-channel unit with plenty to recommend it, but quite a few caveats. Used at low volumes, it genuinely sounds like a challenger to the class-leading Sonos Beam. There's a very satisfying clarity to dialogue, and soundtracks have a degree of presence. Overhead effects are missing in action, since it doesn't contain any up-firing drive units, but the side-firing units definitely add a degree of width to on-screen action. There's real promise here. Turn the wick up a little, though, and the S60D's crispness veers into harshness. You can mitigate it with the tone controls, but then you end up dulling the balance when you lower the volume again. Listen to Spotify Connect using the S60D's music mode and, while it makes for acceptable background listening, there's a lack of integration across all frequencies that becomes more obvious as the volume is turned up. Other niggles include the lack of a second eARC HDMI input and the absurdly confusing remote control. Want to know whether you're listening to Dolby Atmos? Press the I/info button on the remote and the LED indicator will blink cyan 3 times. Seriously? Controlling it from the Samsung SmartThings app is much better.
Coming at number 4.
Bose Smart Soundbar. Starting with the negatives again, Bose's flagship soundbar is topped with a dust-gathering glass bar containing touch-sensitive controls, while a front-facing LED light bar theoretically conveys status info by changing color and flashing in multiple different sequences. After a long time struggling to understand them, I simply gave up. Connectivity is above average and the initial setup is achieved via a well-featured iOS/Android app. This gives you the option of using Bose's ADAPTQ microphone-based calibration system, which operates in conjunction with a hardwired headset that you wear while sitting on the sofa. It actually works pretty well, successfully removing most sonic overhang, though it does also dull overall dynamics a touch. Fed with a good Atmos soundtrack, though, the Bose's up-firing drivers consistently create an exciting, densely packed sound field, with an unusually well-developed sense of height, spaciousness, and precision. While special effects sound impressively bombastic, it's obvious the good work is being achieved via an artificial emphasis that's being added to the leading edge of high frequencies. Truthfully, it's a characteristic that does music reproduction no favors. But when it comes to movie soundtracks packed with explosions, gunfire and the like, it adds a pleasingly heightened impact that I found very hard to dislike. Slightly flawed then, but still very enjoyable.
At number 3.
Sony HTA5000. Sony's mid-range soundbar is intended to challenge the Sonos Arc above, but it's clearly superior on at least one front. In a clear nod to the PS5-owning demographic, Sony has fitted a pass-through HDMI input that's compatible with gaming-specific desirables like auto HDR tone mapping, variable refresh rate, VRR, and auto low latency mode, ALLM, support, as well as 4K at 120Hz action. You may be surprised to discover there are no adjustable EQ settings, beyond a fixed 3-step bass adjustment, but aside from a slightly bright treble, there's not too much wrong with the HTA5000's fundamental sound quality. With the sound field setting activated, the Sony creates a palpably wide, albeit 2D, soundstage, one that has some real height and is peppered with easily perceived spatial information, a boon for gamers. The only irritant is that dialogue isn't handled as well as it could be. Vocals seem to recede in prominence when the sound field setting is engaged, requiring more frequent use of the voice boost function. Switch it out and dialogue is generally clearer, but you instantly lose that lovely sense of spaciousness.
Number 2 of my list.
JBL Bar 2.0. Make no mistake, the Bar 2.0 embodies the absolute minimum you need in a soundbar. So while you do get a basic remote, there's no display, just a multicolor color status LED. Music streaming is only possible via Bluetooth from your phone or tablet. There's no Wi-Fi. There's also no Dolby Atmos, although there is a smart mode, enabled by default, which adds a bit of EQ and signal processing for a rich sound effect. You can switch it out via a few button presses on the remote, but it switches itself back on when you restart. So warmed up stereo is what you're going to get from this one. And actually, I rather like it. JBL know how to do the basics very well. We rate their Flip 6 as one of the best Bluetooth speakers out there, and there's a straightforward honesty about the Bar 2.0's performance that grows you, as does the low price tag. Yes, speech can feel a little pinched and small, but complex movie soundtracks fare better, offering a scale and detail beyond what most modern TVs can provide. Cheap then, but definitely not nasty.
And number 1.
Sonos Arc. Since Sonos is famous for the quality of its soundbars, it might make sense to start with the negatives here. Firstly, there's no physical remote with the Arc because everything is controlled via the Sonos app on your smartphone/tablet. There's only one HDMI Arc input, see FAQ section below for explanations of these terms, when a second HDMI input should really be mandatory at this price level. And it feels odd that there's no Bluetooth. Now the good news. Once you've set it up using the TruePlay tuning exercise, to optimize the Arc's output for your room, day-to-day operation is a joy. If you need it, the app offers a wealth of control adjustments, as well as the ability to sync and group the Arc with other Sonos speakers you may have around the house, for simultaneous audio playback.
Check out this video description for latest price and more informations. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned.